Hi guys, this is Robin with Weight Loss Apocalypse. Here is a clip from a session that I did last week. In this section of this session that you are about to watch, this client and I are talking about how rapid the recovery is once you let go, right? Getting to the point of letting go is not easy. There's sadness, there's anger, and what we're talking about letting go of is body image. The idea that you need to manage your size, lose weight, get thinner, maintain your thinnerness, everything wrapped around the idea that we have to control our bodies, control our health, control our size, control our others' perception of our body, and just all the control that goes around body image, and how rapidly the recovery rate is once you decide that you will never use body image again to value yourself, to value others, to define your worth, etc. This client really struggled for the first, 8-9 sessions, and actually believed that it was going to be impossible for her. But it came to her in a moment where she was getting clothes. She was shopping for clothes, and she was in the dressing room and was so angry that she couldn't get to wear a bikini, and so victimized by the body that she was in. But at the same time, all the work that we had done up to that point together prepared her to surrender, to really go into those feelings of anger, go into the feelings of shame, of loss, of failure, and to give herself freedom from having to suffer in order to fix the body. So, and in this, she's discussing how this whole thing has unraveled. All right, the entire session, if you want to watch it, is in this private Patreon account. You're going to have to join. It's at minimum $5 a month. The link to Patreon is below. If you would like to work with me, whether you're doing the HCG protocol, whether you have anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, orthorexia, whatever it is that you're suffering from, I help people with that stuff. I help at least just get them to open their mind. So, and the link to my website is also below. And all right, enjoy.
I feel healed, like that. I'm not emotionally fused to that, because it's almost like it's almost like being in a bad marriage or something. Like in a bad marriage, and you loved your husband, and then you found out the dirty secret, and then all of a sudden it frees you from loving that person anymore. So then you're not carrying it anymore. So it's almost like it wasn't even me that was carrying it, because it's just poop in the air. And some people are in their stuff about their weight, and they cry all the time about their emotional baggage and all this stuff. This has been the cleanest process, because you changed my belief. It wasn't about therapy, and it wasn't. This is unbelievable to me, because I've spent my whole fucking life, and you have no idea how much time and money I have spent on, rescuing the inner child, and all my shame about being sexually abused, and all this other stuff about control and this and that, everything.
Yeah.
Every single thing.
You've gone to clinics and groups. In my mind. Right. You've had a lot of therapy?
Oh, tons.
What's the most you spent on therapy, if you don't mind me asking?
7 years. 7 years, once a week on Tuesdays. $150 a session. You figure it out.
Yeah, well, it's about the same price I'm charging, $150 an hour. Sometimes we go longer.
Yeah.
So it's $300 for a session if it's 2 hours or more. We had a 4-hour session once.
We did. Well, I needed that one.
Yes, that was epic. Brutal. Epic. Awesome. But it's, to me, what I've learned, and I learned this through my own shit, right? I learned this with my own recovery, but I didn't really intellectually understand it until I started helping other people. And it's taken me a good 5 years to get to this point. If you watch my YouTube videos from 5 years ago, I was not as straight and direct. I was still trying to somewhat peel the onion around it. Even though I kind of had my own understanding, the ability to try to understand it in others is different. Through the years, I've realized through trial and error helping others that the route you take is through the belief systems. That it isn't necessarily your molestation story. It isn't necessarily, right? Which is surprising. I have sexual trauma in my history too, and that wasn't the problem. Yeah, it was my perceptions of it has a lot to do with the narcissism in the systems that we're raised in. We're raised to have these ideals. We're raised to hold ourselves to the ideals very closely to prove our worth to our pack and tribes. So if we look at...
Such a monster.
It is a monster. It is
Such a monster.
The system we live in, and it's capitalized on. So it's hundreds of trillions of dollars go into this type of thinking. When you add religion, body image, consumerism, that's how the system is. Your worth is relative to your stringency to our rules. Whatever it is, right? So that's why when we took you out of one system, the rest kind of fall away, don't they? It's amazing how that works, because if you can love yourself flawed, and that's the key, is the actual true love for your spirit that is unconditional, even though you are flawed and failure and suck relative to the conditions. Do I need to say that again? Did you get that?
No, I totally got it. I'm sitting here like completely with you.
Good. Okay. Because sometimes I say something, I don't even know what I just said. And then I'm like, how did I know that? Whoa, where did that come from? Did I understand that?
No,
relative to the conditions, you are now unconditionally loving yourself. So you're breaking conditions that you held yourself hostage to. You held your worth hostage to it. And those conditions were out of this world intense. No human should be held to those super high standards unless they're in a vacuum of isolation and perfection, right? Anyway, so you break out of that by the humility that it took. Would you agree? The moment you actually recovered, we could say there was a process of getting you prepared for it. And once that moment showed up and you were in that room with the doors locked in the gap, trying on clothes, angry, violent, and then crying, that moment for you to come out of that took an incredible degree of humility.
Yeah.
You walked out of those doors a failure, and you were okay with it.
Yeah.
So what that does is it allows you this freedom to be a failure at everything and be okay with it. I fail at this. I suck at this. And I'm okay with it. So it's amazing how it just shifts your whole entire brain. So on a side note, with what you're saying, this incredibly rapid shift of being, there are a lot of studies around syndromes in terms of like Stockholm syndrome. You know what Stockholm syndrome is?
Yes.
Where someone is being held hostage and they end up having survival-like love, falling in love with their captor. And there's a situation, there's a variety of things that go into it, like the captors regulating their food, their actual survival, physical needs, physiological needs. And they're also manipulating those survival needs with their love, right? So it's like a cult mentality. They've also studied cults. How do you get someone to leave a cult? How do you get someone to leave a battered wife situation, right?
Yeah.
When someone becomes aware, like you said, it's like a terrible marriage where you find out that this guy is a horrible person. All of a sudden it's over. What you're describing is how quickly a syndrome goes away. Syndromes don't respond to psychological medication either. So antidepressants, do you think an antidepressant would have helped this?
No.
Me neither. In fact, when I was at my worst, I remember them wanting to give me Prozac. I don't think there's anything wrong with Prozac, but I knew in my heart there was this weird awareness that I knew it wasn't going to do anything. Because what is that going to do with my desire to be thin? If it can make my desire to be thin go away and make me okay with being fat, then it would work.
Yeah.
So I didn't end up taking it. But after the fact, I'm like, oh, well, I was right. It wouldn't have done shit. It wouldn't have changed my belief systems. You can go on you can get high on as a kite, and it's not going to change your belief systems. It's not going to get you to leave religion. It's not going to get you to leave a terrible marriage. What type of medication, right, in a battered wife situation can make a battered wife go, oh my God, he's a total douche, and he's never going to change. That's the key. Because people stay held hostage because they believe that this circumstance will change. So I will be here, and I'm going to stay here because I believe that he's a good man and he'll change. And the moment that woman says, he's never going to change, this is always going to be this way, that's when she leaves. And it is instantaneous recovery. There's some aftermath problems with post-traumatic stress for a lot of these people, and that could be some of your residual issues with the PTSD from dieting, like the actual shame that you may have had eating a certain type of food. You may still have kind of like post-traumatic stress around those types of foods. I see that more commonly with my chronic binge eaters. They have PTSD.
Not I am eating what I want when I want, and that's it, and fuck it.
Right.
And I feel great. I feel light. I really do. I'm feeling very free, and I can't thank you enough. I just can't. I never had a clue that I could be in these shoes that I'm in. No clue.